All right, so big season finale for Hollywood Medium. I know during the episode you mentioned you've gone to a medium before, but how is this different for you?
This was different because I think Tyler was just so fascinating. He came right in telling me what I wanted to hear without really knowing what I wanted to hear, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And like going into this, not knowing who it's going to be, LaToya answers the door. You kind of get a feeling of who she's probably going to want to talk to. What starts going through your mind?
Well, I had to not faint. I was just trying to process, all of what was happening, and I was so excited to get to meet her. And as I sat down, it was interesting because Michael did come through, but there were also some connections to grandparents that popped in, and you're seeing on the episode kind of a cut down version of the time that we spent together, and we navigated so many different things from personal life to Michael obviously being the focus. And so when he came through, it was just fascinating to see because he came through so childlike and so innocent and so selfless and just wanted to make sure everyone else was okay before he was okay. And it was just really fascinating getting to see that side of such a public figure.
And when you do start to see that he is connecting with Michael, what's your initial reaction to that?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was nervous in the beginning because I didn't know who was going to come through or if anybody was going to come through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Michael came through. My grandparents came through. Michael came through right away, which really made me really think about it because the way he came through and the way Tyler was saying things, I knew that it was definitely him. It couldn't have been anyone else but him, which was really nice. And sometimes, you think to yourself, well, people probably know a little bit about your life, so they're going to give you that. Tyler didn't do that. He said things that no one knew but me as far as Michael was concerned.
Okay. So to some of the critics out there, you will
Yes.
stand by
Oh,
Tyler.
yes, I do.
Thank you.
I do, because they're going to say, oh, come on, he already knows about her family and who
Right.
doesn't and the whole bit. But
Right.
no, these are things that Tyler was telling me that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now during the reading, you do get a lot of validation for some of the questions that you had about, the timeline, who was there, who wasn't there.
Yes, of course.
I know you mentioned that, the family had a lot of questions, all of you guys. Did you relay the information to them afterwards, and what was their reaction to some
No,
of it?
I haven't. I haven't just yet because I signed that we don't discuss this, talk about it until it's airing time.
Okay.
And this is my first speaking of it now,
Ah.
besides then.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
now
are
I
you guys
can
going
do
to watch it together? Or?
That's
We'll
funny.
see.
It'll be
I
interesting.
never even given that a thought. But no, it's really fascinating.
Yeah. And now, how hard was it for you to kind of put aside some of the preconceived notions or just knowledge that you have when
Right.
you're doing this?
Well, it was huge. I mean, as a medium, it's important that I pick up on information that's specific and detailed and private. And when you're dealing with the most famous person in the world,
Right.
it's not a lot is
Private.
not known. Yeah. So to connect really to some of those more specific things was really important for me. And the pressure kind of dissipated the more I really started feeling his essence and communicating with his energy. And he had so many messages, not only just for LaToya, but also for his children, and wanting to make sure that they knew that he was around. And some of those are private, and so I think that's really important for as a family unit to be able to hear. I think that reading will have a ripple effect. So that's the goal.
And now during the reading, it does come through that Michael keeps saying someone left the room, and that seems to be a big part of it.
Yes.
In your mind, do you think that maybe he was saying maybe there'd be a different outcome if this person hadn't left?
Of course, that goes
Yeah.
through your mind. Why wouldn't it? It goes through your mind, and yes, but there's nothing we can do at
Right.
the moment, is it?
Yeah.
No.
And I was
nothing.
wondering if for your side, did that ever come through from him at all?
Yeah, there was an awareness of what was done and what wasn't, and it was just simply to help clarify the means of what happened in those last moments.
Yeah.
When it came through, he wasn't angry, he wasn't judgmental, he wasn't upset. He was just helping answer the question he knew LaToya needed to have answered for her to be able to move on with a deeper sense of peace. And he just wanted everyone to be okay.
Yeah.
And he knew by giving that information, it would help everyone.
And you did say that. You did say that he wants you to move on with your life,
Right.
and everything's fine, and it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
And how does that make you feel to hear that message? I mean, that's got to be a nice thing, nice sense of closure.
That really made me feel good because that would be Michael. That he
Yeah.
would say those things like, "Move on with your life. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. Everything's fine." And like he said, it was a smooth transition. He didn't come through angry or anything. It was just peaceful.
Yeah. And now, what do you think his fans are going to take away from this? Because we know, I'm sure they're very excited to see what comes through as well.
I hope they take away what I did, just validating everything and the answers to questions that you might have, that, okay, they've been answered, and I'm going to go with this. Because I believe this, so I'm going to go with this. And then again, there's nothing we can do anyway.
Yeah.
And now, would you do another reading? And if so, what kinds of things would you want to talk about? Maybe if there's, lighter topics to kind of address.
No, you're right,
now.
lighter topics. Maybe a little bit about me.
You know it. We're going to have that chat.
Right?
I love it.
Yes.
Now, Michael, obviously, like you said, is one of the biggest celebrities in the world ever. For you, that's got to be someone on like the "I can't believe I just talked to them" checklist.
Truly.
Like, where do you go from there? Who else would you love to talk to that maybe you haven't yet?
It's a hard question to answer because I think the people that I'm meant to read will come into my path. But I really left that experience thinking about the idea of celebrity, thinking about what it means to be human, and just realizing that someone like Michael Jackson can come through, who lived such a famous life, such an incredible life, with such peace, and his priorities were focused on such simple things, making sure his family was okay, making sure the people around him were happy. It wasn't about materialism or money or a lifestyle. It was just about the basics. And I think that goes to show that regardless of the lifestyles we live, at the end of the day, it's the fundamental things that we all can relate to, and that was huge.
Now, I watched the full episode, which also has a couple other readings in it, but it's something I thought was funny, and one of the mothers of the client thought Tyler was Macaulay Culkin. And I know your family obviously has a connection with him as well.
funny.
Do you see the resemblance?
I do. I certainly do. No, I do.
Sometimes I get
I
it.
do.
Yes, that's hilarious.
It's funny you mentioned that.
That is-
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Do you get that a lot?
As I was a little boy, I used to have blonde hair, so I really look like him. And as I've gotten older, I've tried to get away from it. But
Oh,
it's
that's
okay.
funny. Yes.
I'll take it.